Red is a power color for sure. Absolutely. Definitely conveys more authority and power in that way. You know, there are all sorts of studies about, like, you know, people who wear watches. There's a measurable psychological thing with people who see someone else wearing a watch that they assume that person is more competent at task.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, now I kind of want to wear a watch. Just to trick myself. Trick myself into thinking.
Yeah, when you see yourself in the mirror, you're like, I got this.
I'm like, that chick is competent as fuck. She knows how to read time on her wrist.
That is so fucked up. It's fucked up. So fucked up. It is just so damn fucked up. That's fucked up.
So here we are. Nikki is looking like fucking Coco Chanel or something all fabulous. And I have very obviously just rolled out of my bed, and we were just saying how on brand that is for each other. I was like, oh my God, you look so put together and awesome, and you have like this really great vibe going, and I'm just like a mess. I just rolled out of bed after watching weird YouTube videos to get my day started. She was like, that's very on brand for you.
That's very on brand. I mean, especially because you said it was specifically like YouTube cults, and I was like, that would be how you psych yourself up for that.
That would totally be
what
how
I've heard.
I psych myself up for the day. I'm like, I was having some weird nightmares. I better watch random YouTube video about the cult of, I think, David Dobrik or something. It's some guy I've never even heard about. You know these kids, Nikki, you know these kids out there influencing, and they move into houses together to influence. Yeah. And they call it a hype house or a vlog squad. It's stupid.
They travel in a pack.
And you know, there's Logan Paul, you know him? And he's fighting Mike Tyson.
Yeah. He's fighting
Mike Tyson.
Is that wise? Is Logan Paul good at boxing?
No, well, I don't think so. No, I just, like, I've heard about Logan Paul as I've explored YouTube lore, and I was like, who is this little dick tit? And then I saw that he had a song, a music video for a song called It's Everyday, Bro.
Oh. Was it a banger?
Nikki, it was so good. It was so good. Well, I found out that he runs one of these little houses. It's called like Team 10.
Okay.
And he pimps out all these little influencers. I don't know. That's a weird rabbit hole. We're going to go down it on another episode. But this is about you today and me and us and mental health and fashion and all kinds of things. So this is Unfucking Yourself with TSFU. I'm your host, Ashley Love Richards. And today I am joined by my very beautifully well put together and awesome guest, Nikki-Salt. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, I'm Nikki. You can find me online at nikki-salt on different platforms. I do fashion content. I'm a personal stylist. I'm a creator coach. All sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah, and I found you on Instagram at your Instagram handle at Nikki-Salt. So NIKKI. ESU. And I found you because you really inspired me with your fashion. And that's something I'm not giving a great example this morning, but I'm like, I swear it's something I've been like kind of getting into. This is our newest segment. We have 3 new segments because that's how I like to roll, Nikki. 3 new at once. I'm like, let's go.
All or nothing.
We have TSFU interviews where my co-host Fallon is talking to a lot of survivors and authors. And then we have Unfucking Yourself with TSFU, where I'm talking to people who I want to talk to everybody, but I want to talk to people more about fun things, or not fun things, but that segment, TSFU interviews, is a place for people to have their stories told and really kind of deep conversations. Unfucking Yourself with That's So Fucked Up is where we come and talk about all of the different ways that you can unfuck yourself. And we all got fucked in different ways probably, and we're all learning how to unfuck ourselves in different ways. And, you know,
Amen.
So yeah, this segment's going to go all over the place. We're going to talk to anybody and everybody who has made a positive change in their life and shares that with other people. And Nikki, I obviously found you because you share your glorious fashion, and I don't even know. I'm like so out of the loop, out of that world. I don't even know how to say it. You have a lot of fun with fashion.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just having fun with fashion.
That's what
I
you're
don't
doing.
think I'm not really like doing fashion influencing necessarily. A lot of it is kind of dress up, costume, or like recreation. I do a series where it's like a little bit of a deep dive into the influence of different fashion icons and stuff like that. So it's a little all over the map. It's kind of just for fashion lovers generally who like to express themselves that way.
I was looking for kind of like style influencers, but not to like help me dress better per se, but more so to help me have more fun with style and fashion, because I generally find clothing and makeup and stuff just very overwhelming. I'm like, that's what do you even do with that stuff? So I had found Betty Page, who I'm sure you're familiar with. She's a very famous pinup model. And I was so inspired by not only her look, but just like her whole story. We recently did an episode on Betty Page, you guys. She has a really wild backstory. She's an amazing person. And sadly, as so many artistic geniuses do, she struggled with mental health issues. I know I do. One thing that got me into trying to play more with aesthetics, fashion, makeup, and whatnot was I just needed to have something fun to do outside of podcasting, because I love podcasting. It is fun, but it's also my job, and like my self-worth is very attached to it, you know?
Yeah.
Is fashion styling your day job, Nikki?
In part. So I do a combination of fashion, personal styling, and styling for brands. But then the other part of what I do is I do a lot of digital marketing, and I teach other creators how to make money doing fashion content and how to connect with brands and all that sort of thing. And I make ads and digital strategy for companies as well.
Cool. So not all of your creative energy or all of your professional energy, not all of it goes into fashion.
Right. And there have been times where that was really more the majority of my income. And I actually consciously cultivated some other more that felt more like work to create that dichotomy.
Mm-hmm.
Because then I found when I was doing like all styling all the time and all fashion content all the time, it started to suck some of the joy out of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a bad thing when you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, I have to like dress up all day today. You're like, okay,
Hold on.
I need to switch something in my mindset because this is actually great, right? And so I found that, cultivating these other kind of income streams that I do. And like I said, that like when I sit at my computer and it feels more like work to me, makes the other work, like when I'm working with styling clients, when I'm making my content, when I'm working with fashion brands, then that's my playtime again. And I have a lot more joy in it.
Yeah. I think that's really something that I have found to be very important on my journey as a creator is often when you get to do what you love for your job. I mean, I'm not like rolling a dough or anything. Luckily, my partner and I are supportive of each other's business ventures, but I'm so focused on the podcast as not only my passion, but my business and something that I strive to make my full-time source of income, because it's definitely a full-time job. And then those two things can start getting really mixed up. And then it's like this thing that I love that brings me joy also brings me all the stress and self-hatred. And then I had to go into therapy. Well, we've been doing that for years. Let's not lie. I guess I had to get a little bit more creative with myself recently and be like, well, let's not give my therapist the credit. She pointed it out. She was like, it's all together, Ashley.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, I need to find some shit that I just like to do for fun. So I've like bought puzzles and coloring books. And I've driven to mountains to be like, we're going to hike this bitch. And then I'm like, let's do a nature walk. Like, everybody settle down. You know?
Yeah.
I tried so many things to be like, maybe I'll like this. It's really hard, I think. I think it can be really hard to find hobbies that you like. So I found Betty Page's story. And then I found out that she sewed her own bathing suits. And I was like, for some reason, just that thing, I was like, that's really cool. Because everybody was wearing like frocks to the beach at that time. And she was making bikinis. And I thought that was so badass. And I was like, I'm going to make a bikini. And I mean,
did you make one?
I used sewing tape, fabric glue, and safety pins.
That is the extent of my sewing skills, but I do make things using that.
Wait, are you making fun of me? Are you saying that's for you too?
No, I can't sew, but sometimes I like have fabric and I like wrap it and I'm like, you just pin it a bunch and glue it. Hot glue. I have a bunch of like stuff that I've just hot glue crap too. And I'm like,
I totally,
it looks cool.
I went to the fucking, I hate to admit it. I generally really do try not to support Hobby Lobby. I've only been there once.
Sure.
Okay. And it it was this time. It was right by my house. And I knew that they would have all the things that could make you pretend like you knew how to sew. So I went there and I was like, fabric glue? What? Oh, fabric tape that just like apparently none of it works as good as it says it does. Okay. I'm going to say that right now is lies. Sewing is going to be Sewing properly is going to be the best option.
I am going to put a shout out there for hot glue. That is my ride or die.
I don't have hot glue.
Pins. Oh, you got to get a hot glue gun. It'll change your life. It's useful for everything.
Okay.
I've decided.
So everybody, fuck Hobby Lobby. Just go to, I'm like, go to Target.
Is Michael's okay? Yeah. I don't know.
They're
who's a better corporate?
It's really
I don't know where you can get an ethical glue gun these days.
No, I do. Dude, nowhere. I'm pretty sure. But you just like gotta, I don't know, pick like the least.
You can get them at the grocery store.
The least
sometimes,
shitty
or like
place.
CVS, yeah, whatever place.
Whatever. Target's not perfect, you guys, but I'm not gonna lie. I like Target, and they are better than Hobby Lobby. So, anywho. Have you read Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert?
I have not.
Oh, girl, you really need to. I so highly recommend it.
On my list.
So Elizabeth Gilbert wrote Eat, Pray, Love, which, kind of became like the white woman's guide to
became massive.
Finding yourself through Eastern philosophy and whatnot. Anyways, I'm still a big fan of her, but like when I was in my 20s, I was like, I'm moving to Bali. I'm going to pray. I'm doing it. I am Elizabeth Gilberting my life. And I was part of it, back in the day. It's okay. And she also, though, she gets a lot of criticism for that book because she was like, she was like the OG white lady to go do it, though. Okay. So why is everybody criticizing her? Like, oh, whatever. Anywho.
People are jealous, I think, because I read it and I was jealous.
Right. I'm like, I still would go to Italy and eat all the pizza and go just like chill in Bali.
I'd like to get a multi-6-figure book advance so I could just travel the world for a year.
I'll skip living in the ashram because
fair enough.
From my research, I have found that can get pretty culty pretty quick.
That is
so I
true.
think I'm going to skip that part, but I'm going to go to Italy and eat all the pizza and go and chill in Bali like all day. Well, she was praying, I guess. But anywho.
I think, that's what she was loving.
Right.
If you know what I mean.
The loving had to come in somewhere. I think it was with the praying. This episode is so wild. Because I don't normally sleep until 8:30. Which was my morning this morning. And then it's like a new segment also. So I'm so sorry, Nikki. I'm like trying to...
No, it's great.
I'm all over the place. Okay, great. As long as you're having fun, I'm having fun. Anyways, Elizabeth Gilbert, she wrote another book called Big Magic, and it's all about how you shouldn't put all of your financial and self-worth stress on your creativity because that's like too much stress on your creativity. And she actually talks about how you should kind of what you were saying, like have a job that you don't like or something. Basically, she tells you to treat creativity as like this part of you. It's like, don't fucking douse creativity's fire by putting all the pressure on it to pay your bills and make you happy and blah, blah, blah. And I was like delivering pizza in my car and crying listening to that because I was like 2 years into my podcast. Like, I know, but I don't want to deliver pizza.
No, there's really something to that because there's also, I think it frees you more in your creative, like you said, she said, or whatever, what we're all agreeing on. It's like when you put all those other expectations on it, it has to pay my bills. It has to fulfill this. It puts all this pressure on it that then like that's going to box you in because suddenly you're overthinking it again instead of just being fully expressive with it, which is where you get the joy from, I think.
And I think that even though all of this has sounded like an insane ADHD tangent for 18 minutes, I do think that people are understanding, I hope. I feel like you're getting it. That the point of what we're saying is that creativity is this beautiful thing that we are blessed with in our lives. And people are, I know you're sitting there going, I'm not creative. Shut up, bitch. I know you made a fucking sick curry last night or something, and I can't do that. That's you being creative. You fucking choreographed a dance, or you saw one on TikTok and then you did it. I don't know. That's creative. I tried to do a TikTok dance once, Nikki. I didn't do it. I did like 15 seconds. The Wednesday Addams dance.
Oh, I know. I remember that one. That was really popular.
I was like, I really want to learn it. And I tried and I was like, this is so hard. And I found a little YouTube video where they're like, oh, we're going to do a super basic short version. And I was like, yay, you guys. And then I did that.
And you applauded their creativity.
I felt really good. I think it's still pinned to the top of my personal page.
Everybody run and check it out right now.
Very well, maybe, because I was, very personally proud of that. Because I was like, wow, girl, you shredded that. I was like, you learned that dance and you did it. So if you're listening and you're like, oh, I'm not creative. Yeah, you are. Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
That's like a great example. It's like if you're being creative and you're doing a dance on TikTok, are you doing it just because you loved it? Or are you sitting there waiting for the likes to come in? Because that's when it becomes fucking maladaptive or not healthy.
Yeah,
right?
It becomes about the external validation rather than the creation process itself. And
exactly.
And really, like, one of the interesting things about creativity is I really think that's one of the main things that differentiates humans from any other creature or being is the fact that we are creators naturally. Even if what you do is have kids, wow, that's like basically the biggest form of creation you can do or something like that. Even if you're not feeling fulfilled from the way you're engaging your creativity, like everything you do in your life is an act of creation, right? So it's just what style you do it with or choose to do it with in certain areas.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people do not think of themselves as creative people because they're like, oh, well, I don't do these things that we look as creative activities, right? But I think that it's so important, regardless of what you're doing to make money or to freaking, get by out here in this economy, that you have something that you do that's just for you and not for the likes on social media. Cause like I started, following you and Betty Page and I started getting kind of more inspired with like fashion and photography. And I've done, I think like 3 or 4 shoots in the last 5-6 months. And I've put up 2 looks out of the like maybe 12 looks or something that I shot during those shoots. Partly because it's really hard communicating with editors and I'm terrible at communication. I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? It's 6 months later. Sorry, I was in a depression hole. I'm back. So that's part of it. But part of it also is because I put some stuff up and I did notice that I was like, oh man, really? Only 97 likes? Oh, well, I wonder if I would have tagged it like Puerto Rico. Like, so I actually haven't posted anything since because I'm like, maybe it's really hard for me to go from like person mind to content mind or from like content creator to just being a human existing in life. Yeah. So I've actually been like, okay, maybe I'll put them up later at some point. But at this point in my life, I haven't even checked my podcast stats in months because I'm like, girl, you cannot be getting your self-worth from likes and downloads and shit.
I like with posting, my big thing is I say in my head, set it and forget it.
Yeah.
Just let it go. And yeah, I mean, obviously, because the really important thing is being consistent over time. It's the most important thing is not getting a home run every time you post because that's impossible.
What? I don't know about you. I'm home running every post. Wild.
Well, listen, please sell your strategy because I will buy it. The biggest thing is consistency over time and kind of building that consistent body of work and stuff. And I think if you get stuck in the micro, then you miss the macro. So what I like to do is like every few months go back and like look at stats because then that can show me, okay, what did my audience like? What are people asking for more of?
That
what
is
didn't
smart.
work and why? But it's like I just do it quarterly, and that really saves my mental health. That's what you're talking about.
So you're like a real adult, Nikki. Look at you. It's wild. You do things quarterly. My tax person just told me, you have to pay taxes quarterly or else you owe a bunch of money at the end. And I was like, that's a fun new adult surprise.
That's kind of what being an adult is about, though. It's all these fun surprises, quote, quote.
And you roll with them and you go, okay.
That you just have to roll with and be like, now that is part of my reality.
And then I have to keep this fucking dress that you put in a post months up. I just have to keep it in my pulled up tab so I don't forget it, even though I won't forget it. I know it. Mm-hmm. It's the heiress fucking corset in white. I don't know.
That corset dress. Yeah, that lace corset dress is pretty banging.
God, I want it.
That's a great dress. I know. I got a lot. Everyone's like, where's that dress from?
I wouldn't have anywhere to wear it. I live in a fucking, okay, without outing you too much. Do you live in a city?
I do not. I'm not currently based in a city. I was in Los Angeles right before this, and I travel really frequently. I'm on the road maybe like half to 3/4 of the month, generally.
Wow.
I've set things up because what I wanted to do was basically have a home base and be able to bounce between different places. So I was in Los Angeles.
Because you're living my dream life, and I'm just wondering how many years I have.
I'm 35.
Okay, I'm negative 2 years in my dream life path.
Not compare and despair. That's not what it's about.
No,
it's
you're right.
Where
See?
you are in your process.
You guys, this show is called Unfucking Yourself because I need help. I'm not here to like be the fucking bedrock of mental stability to lead you all. I'm here to learn as well. Okay. So I like that. You're ahead of me. That's great. Good for you. But I like that. So you're doing you have a home base and then you travel.
Yeah,
that is
exactly.
So cool.
Because I've always moved around, so where all my friends are is like really. It's like I almost can't decide. I'm like, do I want to live in LA? Do I want to live in New York? Do I want to live in London? It's like, and I want to travel all these other places all the time. So for right now, while that works for me, I figured why not for at least a few years.
Hell yeah! Because I was, I see your outfits, and I'm always like, man, I couldn't wear that though. Like, where would I wear that? And you and I have talked in the DMs because I have told you that I don't know what to wear except for sweatpants if I'm not in the mood for jeans, because they're too tight and I don't want to wear a dress or something because it's cold. I'm like, well, literally there's nothing else to wear but sweatpants. And I'm like, oh, well, if you lived in a cool city, you could wear whatever you want, whenever you want. But like, why do I have to live in a cool city to do that?
No, and that's the thing. I like a lot of my personal styling clients are that way where they're like, I really want to dress like this, but that's not really what my reality is. And I'm like, well, you can dress like that. Why not? Why not be the eccentric person? Like that's the thing. A lot of times it's like I go to the grocery store in a formal gown and people like actually get a kick out of it. I just like to dress the way I like to dress. Okay, now this is actually here. We're going on like kind of like a little mental health thing here. So I read this great book a couple of years ago I think it was by this guy John Bradshaw, and it's called like Releasing the Shame That Binds You. Excellent book for anyone out there with mental health stuff.
We should probably have a reading list,
like little reading
for this segment. Actually,
from this one.
I'm going to write these down.
But it did a thing when I read, because he talks about basically that shame is like the super basic human emotion that underpins a lot of disordered thinking that and patterns that people develop over their lifetimes, right? And it kind of comes from this place of not wanting to be seen and being ashamed of. That's like what original sin in the Bible is, right? It's like they're exposed, and then once people like see them and they realize they're being looked at and they feel exposed, like that's what makes them want to hide and cover themselves. And so I think that's the thing with fashion. It's like for a long time I didn't want to dress to be seen. I dressed to blend in. And when I kind of decided that I would be okay with being looked at, like that was really a big thing. The thing that was holding me back from expressing myself in the way I wanted to is I was worried about people looking at me. And once you get over that, it's like really awesome. And then people want to engage you and you just give off a whole different energy once you're like okay with being seen. It's really interesting how it can change everything about the way you carry yourself. How, like I said, how people interact with you. People come up to you and want to talk to you because they just think something that you're wearing is interesting. I swear I met so many more people over the years once I started dressing in a way that really pleased myself versus before.
That's actually so interesting because something that and I'm sure a lot of people, because the whole fucking world is literally suffering a loneliness crisis epidemic. Like everybody is lonely as fuck. And I know that something that I've kind of been trying to make more of a point lately of is like figure out a way to find people who you could be with in real life. Like, I don't know where to meet those people exactly, but once I do, I'm like, it would be really good if I could have some friends that I could grab coffee with face to face instead of just text or whatever. Because so many of my friends have come from podcasting and other podcast hosts and listeners and stuff. And so much of my interaction happens online. But I'm like, how do you go meet people in the world? Like, people don't really talk to each other that much, Actually, the other day, I work at this coffee shop by my house really often. And there's this one guy who, there's a handful of people that I see regularly, but there's this one guy that is like, he's there 70% of the time I am. And we're always working in the same spot. Like, we work in the upstairs area. And like, I've been 3 feet away from him working for hours, probably a fucking dozen times. So the other day I was like, tapped him on the shoulder. I was like, hi, I'm Ashley. I just feel like I should say that because I feel like we're coworkers. I literally feel like that man is like more of my coworker besides my boyfriend who I have a fucking desk next to and my team who I like actually work with. That guy's my only fucking coworker. This guy named Aaron or something who sits at the coffee shop.
Shout out to Aaron or
What's
something.
Guy. It's one guy. I met him a week ago. I already forgot his name. It's not Aaron. But yeah, it's hard to like meet people. So I could see how.
But yeah, one of the best icebreakers, because like I said, people come up to me and talk to me or just comment on what I'm wearing and suddenly you're talking to someone.
Right.
And I do that a lot more at other people now. Anytime I see someone who's wearing something I like, who I think looks particularly good, who just has a great energy, like I always tell people. I used to be scared to talk to people and now I'm always like, if I pass someone with great energy, I'll be like, you have great energy. No one's ever like, what did you say to me? Like, everyone's always
I love
like
that.
flattered, or like then you start a conversation. And I've met so many, not like, everyone's my best friend suddenly, but just having conversations with strangers, friendly conversations like a lot of times when you compliment something someone's wearing, they want to tell you about it. They have like a story behind it. And suddenly you're having like a much more interesting interaction. You probably will never see that person again in your life, but it's still like nourishing. It still feels good to like connect.
Oh yeah. My favorite thing is to tell people when I got something at the thrift store. They're like, I like your sweatshirt. I'm like, thank you. I got it for $1.50. Like,
oh, that is, yeah, that's no, and I mean, but that's how I know I'm probably going to be friends with someone. If their immediate response is, I thrifted it, I'm like, let's hang out.
Let's go. Yeah. And then I try to make thrifting like a friend type of thing because I do know a couple people who like thrifting, but I really like to go into a thrift store with my emotional support latte and just stare at racks for like 4 fucking hours. And people aren't into
done
that.
Like thrift dates with people and it's fun, but I also kind of like, I really like to get in the zone.
Yeah, it's like
I'm doing it. I'm like, okay, but let's not talk for a little bit while we like
just
search.
like meet me at the fucking door in 2 hours. Doing the thing here. So thrift to find interesting pieces, to make friends in public wearing said pieces. Don't thrift with a friend because they're just going to hold you back, you guys. They're just going to hold you back. So you can wear whatever you want to the coffee shop is what you're saying. When you say, girl, it doesn't have to be sweats, you're saying it can be anything? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you can wear anything. I mean, you can wear sweats.
That's crazy.
That's, the vibe and that's what you're into. But go to the coffee shop in a formal gown and see.
Really see what happens.
See how many friends you make.
Well, I have to show you.
What?
So when I get into something, I'm like, okay, all in. So I kind of got into like fashion and modeling. I don't know. I don't know why I feel silly saying modeling.
I mean, if you modeled, you modeled.
I'm not a professional model, and I mostly take pictures of myself with my tripod and my little handheld.
Modeling.
Okay, thank you. And that is what I would say to somebody else. Like, that's why you need to talk to people, because I would say to somebody else, like, oh, just because you don't get paid, you're not doing it. Like, that's crazy. You can do something as a hobby.
But it's like, if you go for a run, are you like, well, I'm not like a professional runner. It's like, okay, yeah, obviously, sure, but like you run.
So I got into like modeling and photography, and partly because what I thought was most fun about it was figuring out what look I was going to do and then collecting everything I need for said look. You guys, I'm
like
showing
Madonna.
It's Madonna from Desperately Seeking Susan.
Yes, I could see it immediately.
And I worked really hard at that.
Gold blazer, gloves.
Oh, girl, the gold blazer.
Hot pants or mini skirt? I can't quite tell.
It's jean shorts, but it's supposed to be pants, but I was running low on budget. But okay, so the jacket, look at that. See, that is a fucking tie that I glued.
Really?
To the edge. So kind of what I've had most fun about with like, quote, like modeling. Mm-hmm. Okay, you guys, you know what? Have more confidence in yourself than I'm doing right now. Is putting the looks together. I'd be like, okay, so I want to do like a Betty Page at the beach look. Okay, I want to do Desperately Seeking Susan Madonna. Okay, I want to do this. And then like taking those looks and then combo thrifting and Amazoning and whatever. So I think actually even more so than modeling, I think what I find the most fun is styling, is like finding the shit.
It's a lot of fun. It's like creating the vision in your head.
Yeah.
And that's actually when I work with new clients, the first question I ask everyone in terms of styling clients is, who do you want to be? Not like, who do you feel like you are? Or what is your life right now? Which we'll get into and like talk about those things. But it's like, who do you want to be? Because like, let's create that vision and then figure out a version of that vision that fits like
Queen Herbie
style.
Okay, sorry, I just told you.
It's a good look. She's got a strong
Do you know
look.
Queen Herbie?
Yeah, yeah.
I love Queen Herbie.
They were a different band before.
Queen Herbie
Back
was
in the day.
Carmen.
Yeah,
I
they,
didn't
like,
know Carmen.
I remember they were like a one-hit band from back in the day or something like that. And then she like totally rebranded and is like YouTube queen now.
Yeah, they went indie because her and her partner Nick were like not feeling being industry label
Good for
puppets.
them. It seems like they've been really successful.
They
otherwise.
have. They have. And Queen, I love you. I love you, Queen. Please stop talking about problematic Eastern figures, though. No, the thing is, I don't have that many artists who I like super fucking stan, and I love her. I just think her music and her message and everything, just her creativity, she's just amazing. Although she does talk a lot about a lot of healing stuff and really good shit. She also has recommended a couple of people such as Prashanama Yogananda. I don't know. He wrote the book Autobiography of a Yogi. Anyways, he's super famous for like being a good guru and stuff,
I'm down with Yogananda. I read Autobiography of a Yogi.
Oh,
I know there is a foundation.
He's essayed a lot of people. So
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And there's like a lot of really fucked up cult dynamics. But the thing is, and here's what I'm going to tell you, because this is actually perfect. You don't know that shit unless you're like me and you fucking know because you Google Yogananda cult. Prahanama, Yogananda, sexual
I just read
allegations.
the book a while ago when I was like, I used to teach yoga and stuff. And so it's like a really common yogic text.
I used to teach yoga too, and that's probably why I fucking have been to, when I lived in Southern California, I've been to his fucking jam. I went on a Sunday, or whatever.
Yeah, self-realization fellowship, actually. Yeah, now it's all
throwing my arms around.
clicking.
Yes, yes. But here's the thing. If you just Google Paramahansa Yogananda, all you see is he's the self-realization fellowship. All you see is good stuff about him being awesome. You know who Osho is? Osho? Have you heard of Osho?
I've heard of that, yeah.
Have you heard of some like good quotes from Osho?
I'm sure I've seen them even. I feel like they show up on Instagram.
Yes.
Over like, a nice background.
But Osho is Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh, who's a terrible fucking cult leader who essayed a bunch of people and perpetuated a crazy essay culture against children and all this stuff. And after all of this shit, he rebranded
like
to
he needed
Osho.
a rebrand.
Yeah. Oh, and like tons of people, though, have no fucking idea that is the same person. So it's like, Osho, yeah, just like this cool fucking guru. Anyways, point being is like, if you just Google the name, you're gonna get the good stuff. But if you Google cult or coercion or allegations or whatever, trust me, you'll find plenty. So that's why I don't hold it against her or anybody else who is promoting this kind of stuff, because I do know that Eastern practices and meditation, and like I have greatly fucking benefited from many Eastern practices. Also, your girl loves Western medication. I say let's use it all, Use
the best of both worlds.
Yeah,
why not?
fuck.
Isn't that like they balance each other out in a really nice way? So
it doesn't need to be black and white,
take
guys.
from whatever works.
I will take all the tools. Thank you. So I know there's definitely good shit in there for sure. It's just that a lot of times, unless have you heard of Kundalini yoga?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's fully a fucking cult, dude. It's like not a type of yoga. It's just a cult. I'm serious.
I mean, they're like, we're all white. We're going to change your name. It all kind of tracks.
No. Kundalini, after the fucking main guy died.
Yeah. The guy who popularized
Guru Jarat.
Yeah.
Who's like Katie Fisher or something. Some little white bitch who was like, yay, TikTok took it over. You guys, I have a whole episode on it, okay? I'm thinking actually, though, it might actually be on Patreon. Fuck. But anyways, Kundalini's a cult. You guys, yoga. I have a shirt, Nikki. You know what? I'm gonna send it to you. I haven't fucking had this shirt printed and sent in so long because we've had merch for years and it generally just sits on our website being cute, But I'm gonna send you a shirt and you have to wear it.
I will wear it.
It's not just yoga, you guys. And it has a skull with a melting candle because
I really like that.
So many fucking, like I said, I think yoga and meditation is it's great stuff. I do it all today. In the other room, I have a fucking deck of cards that's like trauma-informed yoga pose deck. I meditate all the time. I love this shit. But you got to be careful. When somebody invites you to a meditation group, or, you know, this new kind of yoga that awakens your fucking inner Kundalini energy. I'm just saying, it's not just yoga.
There's a lot of gray area.
Just
you know, when I was training in yoga with my main teacher, it was a very complicated relationship in a lot of ways. It's like you're learning all this stuff. It feels really deep. A lot of times you initially put the person training you in this stuff on a pedestal, and then, you know, you have to come to the realization. And it was funny because this is something my teacher would often say, and then I had that realization with him, where it's like, at the end of the day, a guru is just a guy or a gal. They're real, they're a person, they've got a lot of flaws, they're probably complicated, they'll maybe teach you some good stuff, but they probably got plenty of negatives as part of them. And I think another thing you would say a lot is, you know, at some point you have to decide you're your own teacher. And I think that's kind of it at the end of the day, is that everyone would love to have someone else giving them the answers, but someone can set you on the path, but the real answers all come from the inner realization.
I would like them really, though, to somebody to just have my answer, put that just in a neat little, maybe like 3-page pamphlet, just a pamphlet that I could take on the go with me, you know, and be like, when A happens, B, and magically everything's all right. Perfect.
Well, that was easy.
I don't have one.
Thanks, Guru.
Yeah, I want one of those "that was easy" buttons. Like, remember those from
yes. That was the whole thing. People would like have them on their desk.
Yeah, that was easy. I would get one, but I don't know how often I would be able to use it. I think it would collect dust.
My friend has one on his desk that's a rage button, and it just says "Go fuck yourself." Really, like it yells it when you.
Oh my God, I love that.
If you get off a call and you're pissed, you like hit it.
I'm sure that's available on Amazon. I'm pretty sure, and pretty sure I'm gonna go get one. Also, you're drinking what I'm guessing is water out of a stemless wine glass, and I gotta say, on the first step, I thought it was white wine, and I was like, "Get it, girl!
You know,
it is Friday. Noon somewhere.
It's Friday."
Yeah, no, I was like, "Fuck
like
yeah.
halfway through the day, that's enough time for a drink."
No, I was like, I am loving that. Hey,
no, I do like to drink my water out of fancy glasses, though. Kind of like with everything. Like I said, it's like I use china to eat off of. I drink out of wine glasses, regardless of what I'm drinking. Just makes me feel happy.
Okay.
To use fancy stuff.
I love that. And how did this all... It's kind of funny. I feel like kind of to start moving towards wrapping the interview up is kind of taking it back to the beginning of like, how did you go from a gal who wears stretch pants? Maybe you were never the stretch pants wearing type of gal, but how did you start eating off of china? When did you decide, fuck it, I'm wearing a ball gown to the coffee shop and you can suck my ass? And if you didn't think that because you're not a crude person like me, then feel free to say that's not what I thought, Ashley.
I mean, that's pretty much what the inner dialogue was. You know, the process really started for me several years ago. You know, it actually kind of got kicked off. I mean, it's all kind of complicated and it's a process in the end, but I was having a lot of psychosomatic illness stuff that basically Western medicine couldn't help me figure out what was going on. So I started seeing Eastern people, and one of the people I saw was an Ayurvedic doctor. And Ayurveda, if anyone's not familiar, is the ancient Indian system of health that goes kind of hand in hand with yoga and Vedic astrology as being these old school things that have been around for thousands of years. And so what the Indian system of medicine basically is it's like the science of metabolism and digestion. And it says that your lifestyle and your diet are the things that are the seeds of your health, right?
The funny thing is though, is that Western fucking doctors say that too. But they're like, here, take some medicine.
They do, but they give you medicine instead of what Ayurveda will do is they'll be like, okay, I'm going to prescribe you a diet, and not some crazy diet. You're going to eat these vegetables instead of those ones at this time of day, and like eat this in the evening versus in the morning. And then like you're going to go for a walk, you're going to meditate. It's very, very holistic in terms of what they prescribe. So I did the like basic portion of it, which was diet and lifestyle stuff that way. And I really started to feel better. And then as I kept going to this Ayurvedic doctor, the next thing she's prescribed was like what colors I should be wearing, what fabrics I should be wearing.
What?
And I was like, oh. And she's like, I bet your entire closet is like black, dark blue, gray. You're going to start wearing red. You're going to wear like tiger stripes. You're going to wear purple.
What?
When you feel this way, you're going to wear green. And so I'd actually already been selling vintage clothing and stuff. So I liked that stuff, but that stuff also did bins pretty much to sell to other people. And so I started pulling from like this collection of stuff I had and like just putting together wilder and wilder outfits. And it really changed the way I felt. And then not too long after that, I got divorced. I decided to leave my ex. And I just made a very conscious decision that I was just going to live for myself in the way that I wanted to live, you know, and kind of say, screw it, because, people die young and all sorts of tragic things happen and you never know how much time you have left. It's like, wear the good stuff, use the good stuff. Like if I were to die tomorrow, I'd be like, well, I used like my fanciest perfume. I was eating off the china, I was drinking from the crystal wine glasses and I had a gown on. And that's how I'd rather have spent my last day.
I wish everybody could see my face right now because it's such a goofy, like happy look of admiration. Just like, I love that for you. And I love that for everybody. And I want us all to do it. Where is this witch doctor lady? I need somebody to tell me exactly what to eat and when.
Yeah, there are Ayurvedic doctors all over. I actually highly recommend checking into it for anyone who's done a lot of Western stuff or has any digestion problems, or again, like stuff that's considered more psychosomatic, Western wise, like stress issues, hormonal imbalance in women. Yeah, there are Ayurvedic doctors all over. The specific one I saw was a lovely lady, Dr. Dipti Soni in Scottsdale, Arizona. Shout out to Dr. Soni.
Were you living in Arizona at the time or was it virtual?
I was. During the pandemic, I lived in Arizona for a year and a half.
Okay. Well, I guess if you're going to live in Arizona at any time, it should be at a time where you're forced to stay indoors for the majority of the time.
Right prior to that, I was in Seattle, which, going down to Arizona, I had way more space. Restrictions weren't as tough there, so I could go hiking all the time. So I spent a lot of time outdoors in the desert, which was actually really healing for a year and a half, which I think also contributed to stuff.
Oh, I'm like, I would have been sitting inside because I cry when it's above like 85 degrees. I'm like, oh, it's hot. I'm such a baby. But actually, you know what? I'm really I'm neurodivergent. And the way that shows up primarily for me is somatically. So temperatures and just feel, touch and light and sound. It's all just like super fucking overwhelming and intense for me. So it's like why I say, oh, well, I'm just a baby about heat. I'm like, actually, I kind of want to clarify for myself and my neurodivergent friends that actually it is sometimes harder for people with neurodivergence issues to handle things like temperature. Mm-hmm. But actually, most of my illnesses throughout life have been psychosomatic. I've had so few actual, knock on wood, wish me luck, now I'm going to die tomorrow or something. But I've actually been really lucky to pretty much avoid health problems. I did get diagnosed as like pre-diabetic or high cholesterol or something, whatever, recently. But, guess what they said, Nikki? Take a fucking wild stab.
They either said change your diet or they were going to prescribe you something right away.
They said, we'll prescribe you something after you change your diet and start exercising and it doesn't work, then we'll give you something. But yeah, crazy. She was like, stop eating so much sugar and caffeine and get more sunshine and fresh air.
That'll do it.
And I got my blood work done again recently. And what's up, y'all? Woo! I am not pre-diabetic as of now. Ayo. So
Ayo.
It's the little wins, right?
Yeah.
But fucking psychosomatic illness is so real. And like, I want everybody to know that.
Oh, it's just as real as any sort of other illness.
Holy shit.
I actually think that's almost like one of the craziest things about Western medicine is when it comes to psychosomatic illnesses, or like, they'll be like, oh, well, it's just in your mind. Or like if someone heals with that, and they're like, oh, it's placebo effect. I'm like, so the mind healed you? Yeah. So your mind is making you, like, that's even more amazing than like the physical effect. Ailments to me. Right. Or like, it's like, oh, well, you're just sick because of like stuff that's going on in your head that's causing chemical reactions through the rest of your body. Like, that's nuts.
Yeah, I've had insane stomach issues since I was 16. I've probably thrown up more times in my life than like so many other, I don't know, I've just thrown up so many times that it's insane. And I went to doctors and got colonoscopy and an endoscopy. They put cameras all up in me to see if there was like something going on. And they're like, you are physically fine. And I'm like, well, why can't I stop vomiting for days on end? And they're like, I don't know. And then when I was 34, I finally went to a psychiatrist and a psychologist who both said, you have complex trauma and panic disorder. And I was like, thank you so much. It's really cool to know at 34 since it's been going on for 18 years. But hey, we finally figured it out. And that was really scary and freeing to find out that it had fully just been my mind for decades almost, just
It's
making
wild
me
stuff. Yeah.
so ill. And I was actually, at one point, my doctor was giving me like propranolol, which is to like slow your heart rate. And they were trying to treat all of the physical symptoms of my panic disorder. Because like my panic disorder will show up as me having panic attacks every day for months. Or
Wow.
I don't even know how this is possible. I still don't really medically know how it's possible, but there were like times in my life when I was younger where I swear to God for like weeks, if not months on end, I would be nauseous most of the day, every day, and would just have to wait because I didn't know what was going on. I would just have to wait for it to like stop, for my mind to like work it out. And then I found out so much later that like, yeah, it's literally just stress that's been making you super sick all this time. And it's so fucking crazy. So it's really interesting to hear that essentially you started your journey because you were having all of these ailments.
Yeah, I was tying myself in knots inside and didn't even realize it.
Yeah, I think probably a lot of us are living like that most of the time. So your Ayurvedic doctor started you on like eating and exercising, that kind of stuff. So in her doctor, therapist, professional plan, for her, the next most important thing was your wardrobe. She's like, okay, you got your body under control.
Yeah.
Because that's not something that I would ever think that a doctor would bring up with me in an appointment.
Yeah, no, it was really fascinating. I was like, oh, yeah, I guess I can start wearing those colors.
I feel like my therapist, if she was thinking about that shit, she would have called me out a long time ago. She'd be like, girl, you wear sweats 90% of the time. That's why you're depressed. It's gray.
Chicken or egg, maybe.
It's all gray and sweats, girl.
That really does. It really, like, color is a powerful thing.
That is so amazing.
Color pattern, the feel of fabric on you. Like, I have a really hard time with a lot of synthetic fabrics now. I really prefer natural ones because they just feel better on the body.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild. Yeah, it's really wild. It's a true measurable thing. Like I said, like when you see certain colors, they create certain there's all sorts of Western psychological studies about the power of what you're wearing and color and what it makes people perceive about you.
Red is a power color, right?
Red is a power color for sure. Absolutely. Definitely conveys more authority and power in that way. You know, there are all sorts of studies about, like, you know, people who wear watches. There's a measurable psychological thing with people who see someone else wearing a watch that they assume that person is more competent at tasks.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, now I kind of want to wear a watch. Just to trick myself. Trick myself into thinking.
Yeah, when you see yourself in the mirror, you're like, I got this.
I'm like, that chick is competent as fuck. She knows how to read time on her wrist.
It's really wild. You know, there are also other psychological studies that the first thing that humans notice about each other isn't face, isn't eyes, isn't height, isn't voice. It's what the other person's wearing. We see what they're wearing before we see the person.
That is really interesting and really fascinating. Huh.
So like I said, when you're getting dressed, and like you said, you love the style part because you're like, who do I want to be? I want to be Madonna and Desperately Seeking Susan. And there's like an attitude that comes along with Madonna and Desperately Seeking Susan, right? And so when you are styling and you come up with that vision, it's like you want to embody that archetype. You're like, I want to be that badass free spirit bopping around New York. That's Madonna in that movie. And then you put on that outfit. And like, if you walked in wearing that outfit, Ash, I'd be like, damn, who is this chick? I got to talk to her. Like, because it gives off that vibe.
I have like a princess kind of pink puffy dress and a leather jacket. And I don't know why, but that just became such a fucking vibe in my mind that
yeah.
I'm like, that is happening. I actually got all of these things. I collected all of these accessories and clothes and stuff from styling shoots, and then I just like thrifting too, so I'll just go to the thrift store and be like, oh, that's a cool like old school camera, or I think that would make a cool prop for a shoot sometime. And it was all just like in boxes in my closet. And I watched this video on how to organize your house better to make it ADHD friendly. I haven't been diagnosed with ADHD, but complex trauma shows up as like every fucking mental disorder in the world. It's super fun. So I don't know if I have ADHD, but I really identify with the symptoms. So I watched a couple of videos and oh my God, you guys, I'll link them in the description because I can't just like say that and then not tell you guys about it, because life-changing, literally like a launch pad at the door. It's like, you keep your shoes and your socks there. How crazy is
Oh,
that?
wow.
Because think about it. You put that on like when you're walking out the door, right? So many times
That's true.
I'm out the door, I'm at my doorstep, and I have to run back upstairs to put socks on because my shoes are there, but my socks aren't. Now I have socks by the door. That's just one little thing, but it's wild. But they said that for people with ADHD, it's like out of sight, out of mind. So because I didn't have that stuff in a place that I could see it, I didn't realize that I had it, you know? So I got a special clothing rack that's just for my dress up clothes.
Yeah.
And I can see them all now because like my closet is like on one side and then I have just my rack that's separate and it's just like my accessories and my dress up clothes. And it's so that I can see it so that I don't forget that I have it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I know that's an ADHD hack you're saying, but honestly, that's a hack for like human brains in general, because one of the personal styling services that I do is like redoing people's closets with them.
Mm-hmm.
And a big thing we do is not just going through and like changing the item, that sort of thing, but it's reorganizing it. So many people have stuff that they just never look at. It's in bins, it's up in a closet, they never see it. And so obviously they're never going to wear it, because if you give yourself that much more of a speed bump, like we're all lazy and it's like half a least resistance. If it's right there and you can grab it and you can see it, then you're gonna grab it and you're gonna wear it and you're gonna have fun. But if it's like you have to work to get to it, forget it.
No, yeah, then you're definitely putting the sweatpants on that are right there.
100%. The sweatpants are right here. I'm not gonna go climb up in the closet to get that other thing down.
Sit on a chair all the time so that they're easily accessible. They don't even go
That's
in
the thing. When you don't even like, they don't even get put away. They're just on that one chair everyone has for all the dirty, like dirt stuff that's dirty. Like you wore it, but
you're
it's not
gonna wear it
dirty enough to
again
wash.
because you're just
You're
gonna
wear it
in your house by yourself, and it doesn't matter if you're stinky alone. So then I think that's kind of a perfect place to end. Is like, and you know, maybe we all have a little bit of ADHD because of the streets that we live out in today. It's 2024. It's wild, you guys. I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
None of us
do. I don't know.
None of us know. We're just trying to surf this wave.
Yeah. So in the meantime, I'm going to throw, I think my favorite way to pizzazz the day up a little bit, and I've only done it once, and I sent you a picture because I was so proud of myself and I haven't done it since, is putting a scarf on. Oh my God, y'all.
Yes.
Scarves are so fun.
Yes. If nothing else, get some fun scarves.
What can you do with a
Throw
scarf?
them on with anything.
Tell them.
You can do anything with it. You can put it on your head in like probably 20 different
So
ways.
many ways.
You can tie it around your neck in all sorts of ways. Tie it around your shoulders.
You have a
Use it as
video.
belt.
Don't you have a video?
I have videos about all the different ways you can wear it on your head, all the different ways you can style it. You're going to feel like Gloria Swanson. You're going to feel like a classic Hollywood star swanning around your house with a scarf turban on. And maybe you got great sweatpants on with it. And you know what? Still a vibe.
And that's you. And that's just you being your greatest self.
That's you being a creator for the day.
I love it. I'm going to link your scarf video because I'm not going to put 1,000 of your videos because obviously people can just go to your
The
account.
scarf one's a good one. That's useful.
But I will put the scarf one because I think I commented on it or DM'd you about it because I was like, ooh, I just bought a bunch of scarves and now I have so much more ideas what to do with them. And yeah, you guys, you can go follow Nikki for all sorts of fun fashion tips. I mean, this girl is just out there at the grocery store living her best life. And I think we should all take a page out of that book. You guys follow Nikki at Nikki, NIKKESU on Instagram.
NIKKIESU.
Did I say that? Did I say it wrong?
I think we missed an I.
And I was literally looking at the fucking thing so that I, yep, what she said. Anyways, you guys, it'll be in the show notes. You can read them. It's okay. We can do it. Come on. So, wow. Thanks for being here for Ashley maybe has ADHD. No. Unfucking Yourself with TSFU. And I hope that, you know what? I hope whether you are doing great or like having a hard time, I hope you got something awesome or helpful or just entertaining out of this. And Nikki, thank you for being my guest. Like, I've done over 500 episodes of podcasts, but I get really nervous when it's something new. I'm like, ah! So thank you for being with me on my
this was a huge pleasure.
adventure.
Thank you so much. It's an honor.
Oh, of course. All right, guys. Well, thanks for being here. TSFUthepodcast.com to find everything about all of the segments we do because we do a lot because there's so much going on. Anyways, I'm going to stop talking or else I won't. Bye.
Bum 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 bum. That's fucked up. I'm so fucked up. Can't you see? It's just really fucked. That's fucked up.